remember seeing these wins in the Slack channel come through, and all of a sudden we went from almost like quite slow kind of business to then all of a sudden the Slack channel started to ping off every now and again.
Since it capped out, like, yeah, I couldn't hire anybody on, like, I was at the point of where it was just like, that was basically where I was stuck. And I was trying to do like a lot of stuff physically on my end, like go door knock and leave cards, and do it, but that did nothing too.
You jumped on with us pretty excited to like, hey, let's grow the business, and then had cold feet 1 month in and even asked to say, hey, like, I don't know if I want to do this. And we kind of said like, hey, this is business. You just gotta run its course. You can't expect to transform in a month. I mean, that's huge. Going from doing, you said like 600,000-700,000 for the past few years to having even just to say out loud and have a goal of 1.5 million in it, if possible, is huge.
Yeah, so my name is Devin Spar. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and I own Spar's Painting.
And how long have you been in business?
So as of now, it's been basically 4 years. I think it's actually about to be 4 years exactly on I think October is when I officially got like licensed, bonded, insured, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but you've almost got the anniversary date down then.
Yeah.
I know exactly when it is.
I remember when I passed that test. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's funny. Well, I remember when we first started working together, which was what now? Is it coming up on a year? Is it past a year? I don't know. It seems like it's been a while.
More than a year. I was trying to remember when we first started. I remember that it was I think it was around maybe February or something like that, but I feel like it's been a little over a year.
Yeah, it's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
Do you remember why you originally jumped on and joined us in the first place? Do you remember what you were kind of struggling with back then?
Yeah, yeah, because I remember that because I was based off of just pure word of mouth. So my only source of basically getting any new clientele or anything like that was basically only from previous clientele and stuff like that. And I remember specifically that there was a huge influx of large businesses, specifically from Phoenix. So, Phoenix is north of Tucson and they're a much larger city. And a lot of companies from there that were huge moved down here and bought out a bunch of small companies like mine. So it just made it very difficult for smaller companies to maintain their clientele because all these bigger companies were buying not only mom and pop businesses, but they were also going out and buying people's routes. So basically all of their word of mouth. And so it really detrimented my company a lot. It basically cut my leads in half. And then I remember I was reaching out to multiple people, and then I came across your video, I think, on Instagram. And then it was a video. So I remember I clicked on the link or whatever, and then I looked at your testimonials, and then I was like, oh, this looks like it's legit. Cause I tried out a bunch of companies and they all they didn't do anything. I think when we first talked, I think I tried out maybe a total of 3 to 4 other sources of advertising, whether it was the golf course people. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they do pamphlets and stuff. Yeah, so they'll call you all the time for that. And then, newspapers and there was another one that was some sort of article or something that they'd put your name in, but none of that brought in anything at all.
Got it. So you were running a lot on word of mouth referral, kind of typical, just hey, if people know me, throw in different physical media type stuff out there, like you said, pamphlets and different bits that didn't work. People probably saw them, but didn't equate to too much. How much were you doing? Where was the business at then? Was it a yearly revenue, remember, or monthly revenue?
Yeah, I remember the yearly. I think the yearly revenue was maybe close to 600,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. I think it was there was. I think the last year it was closer to 700,000 or something like that. Really close to that. Mm-hmm.
And had you been at that mark for a while, or had you been slowly, consistently growing still?
It kind of was. I would say it was for a little bit, and then it just plateaued. So there was, it basically was just completely stagnant. It wouldn't go lower or higher at all. It was just basically, I remember looking at the numbers and I was like, wow, my months are exactly the same every single month. So it
Got it.
was
So you just capped out the amount of people that knew about you,
basically, yeah.
really. Okay. And were you still on the brush then, or did you have a team you're
That
working with as well?
no, I had a team then. Yeah, that was when
Mhm.
I had a team, but since it capped out, like yeah, I couldn't hire anybody on. Like I was at the point of where it was just like that was basically where I was stuck. And I was trying to do like a lot of stuff physically on my end, like go door knock and leave cards, and do it, but that did nothing too. I've dropped off like over 200 cards and I only got, I think, one call back. And the lady basically, uh, she's just like, oh, I thought I saw you leaving a card. She's like, I just had like a question on why you left it. I was like, oh, I was like, I thought you were going to offer an estimate.
Yeah, like getting you excited for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of stagnated a little bit and then jumped on with Tridas, saw one of our Instagram videos. And I mean, what were your thoughts when you initially jumped on? I remember that first month was a little bit shaky. I don't know if you remember that,
I do,
but
yeah.
what happened that first month? Do you remember what kind of went through your thoughts then?
I do, yeah. So like I remember that I was really skeptical at the beginning because I remember specifically telling you that I used, like three other companies before and they really did nothing. And then I ended up looking at, deeper into it and seeing that people were like, yeah, these companies are like kind of scams and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I was like super skeptical and I was really, really like trigger shy of like going through with it. And then I remember you were really good at like making me feel comfortable. Like you weren't trying to sell me. You were just like basically you were open about everything from the get-go. And then that made me really comfortable. And I was like, all right. And then you were able to, this is the great thing on my behalf is because like since I was so stagnant, I didn't have like enough cash flow to be able to afford, too much. And you were like, well, we could just do a monthly thing. And then so that like basically I think that was the main factor is, just because I was like really worried about just being able to keep a cushion for the business if anything went wrong but that helped a ton. And then I think it was like the first month, I remember it was really hard because there was a few issues. One, my credit card, remember that like it kept cutting us off. So we would have to manually, so you and Madeline had to keep manually like rerunning it or something.
Hmm.
And
For the
then
Facebook ad spend, yeah.
yeah, for that. And then I remember we tried to change credit cards and all that stuff. So that happened. And then I remember the leads at first were not serious. And then most of them were like hanging up on me.
Hmm.
And but it was only like a month or two that it was happening. And then we just had to learn as we went. And then I think it was like after the second month, it started becoming, pretty constant.
Yeah, I just remember it's kind of solidified in my brain at this point that you jumped on with us pretty excited to like, hey, let's grow the business, and then had cold feet 1 month in, and even asked to say, hey, like I don't know if I want to do this, want to cancel, and we kind of said like, hey, you just gotta, this is business, you just gotta run its course. You can't expect to transform in a month. And I think stuff started to pick up over time, and I remember seeing these wins in the Slack channel come through, and all of a sudden we went from almost like quite slow kind of business to then all of a sudden the
Yeah.
Slack channel started to ping off every now and again. And every time I see a win in the Slack, I always think back to, man, if we'd have just let you cop out after 1 month,
Yeah, yeah.
like what wouldn't have changed?
Yeah.
So what does the business look like now? Like I guess what has changed since we've been ramping up the marketing?
I mean, the sales has went up. It's almost like doubled basically. Um, and leads all over, like in general, like even leads through my website and stuff like that. Like people are contacting me through my website. I'm just getting like random calls from people that don't even click the link. Like they just are scrolling or whatever, and then they'll see it and they'll call me and they'll leave me like if a voicemail saying, "Hey, I just randomly saw your ad. Like, can you call me back with, estimate or something like that?"
Got
Um,
it. So
yeah.
so you implemented the marketing. You said leads and sales have pretty much doubled, so essentially
Mhm.
doubled your business from what you're saying. And also we're getting calls from people that don't come through the ads
Yeah.
as well. Because there's people that fill out the form, and then there's people that, of course, see the ads. And I don't know about you, I'm not the sort of person to fill out a form. on
Yeah, me
Facebook.
neither. Yeah.
So it's weird that there's so many people that do that. There's maybe 50% of the population that are form fillers.
Yeah.
Then there's 50% of the population, maybe like me and you, that see it and then maybe do your own research, maybe click on the page, check out the website, and then go and call. So it's awesome to see that you are getting that throughput from just hitting people
Yeah.
consistently as well, that people are seeing it. What do you think's working well then with the ads? Is there anything you're getting feedback on in particular? Is there anything you're seeing that's working?
Honestly, everybody for the most part says the same thing. They just say that like they love that it's a genuine ad, that it's not like a professional setup, where there's like a like an average commercial that you see on a TV or, like people just say that they feel like those are forced and they're kind of like, fake. They're not genuine. Whereas everyone that sees these ads, they're just like, oh, I felt like, it was just it doesn't feel forced to them. Like they just feel like it's a genuine ad of like we want to do good business for you. And they say that it's relatable and stuff like that. And they see my kids in the videos and my dogs and stuff. And then there's dog lovers that'll be like, "Oh my God, like I love your dog," And I literally had one lady who saw one of the ads and she saw a picture of my dog and she literally I sent her an estimate and she's like, "I'm gonna accept you because I'm like a dog lover and I had a dog that looked exactly like yours." And I was like, just little stuff like that. Oh, I think you're paused.
Oh,
Hey, Dev.
there you go. I think.
There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, my internet's going to go every now and again. You'll probably see in the background. I'm in the middle of the mountains in the middle of nowhere, so
Oh, really?
my internet's hit or miss. But yeah, I heard what you said. So it's funny. We always say that kids and pets will always drop your lead cost. So if you want to drop your lead cost, chuck some kids or pets in the ads, and it sounds like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
made you some revenue as well. So I mean, do you have any numbers to hand? I know Maddie briefly mentioned that you guys had like a record month where you had a month where like you know a big percentage of what you were doing was through
Yeah,
Tridas.
that was I was telling Maddie this too. So when like basically I think the last 3 years in a row, my slow months have turned into basically my highest volume. And then like vice versa. And then like my highest volume have kind of like tapered down a little bit, but January typically my sales are like really low and we did almost 150,000 in January and in February was like 130,000. Where those
Let's
used
go.
to be, those used to be nothing.
Let's go. I mean, you almost scraped onto what you've been doing previous years. Like couple months, you've done over half of what you've done
Yeah.
previous years. That's huge. So what do you think with the levers then? Obviously, like the marketing was one thing, right? It's like, okay, we're implementing good, like
Hmm.
you said, relatable, friendly marketing, which is approachable. You're getting in front of people. But is there anything that you've been dialing in or changing inside of the business? Have you been working on sales process or anything? Or has it really just been the catalyst has been we just needed to get in front of more people?
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, there has been pretty big changes. I used to basically I made my own template through Word for like estimates, and proposals. And then
Okay.
drip jobs was a huge change because it looks way more professional, and it's way quicker. So even if I had two estimates that I was writing up in a day, it would take me like literally an hour at least to finish like one estimate because I had to go through and look at, every single thing that we were going to do to that specific project. Whereas now through drip jobs, I already have just all these templates. So I just click on a template and then just put the person's name, the address, and then just adjust anything that I need to like really quick.
Hmm.
So that way I'm probably sending out literally like double the amount of estimates per day that I was just because of the time that it would take me to write up estimates and stuff like that. So that I think that's a
Mm.
factor. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've professionalized the company a little
Mhm.
bit more. Then you've looked a bit more professional. So you're like coming across friendly in the marketing. You're positioning yourself more professional when you show up. And are these estimates you're doing like on the spot, or are you just sending them out later?
Um, some I do send on the spot, and then some like I'll go back home and then just write them up. But I always send them the day of. That's the biggest thing that changed for me is now since I'm able to do them much quicker, I'm able to send estimates the day of. And a lot of people like that because they want to see the numbers just so they can get an idea, and then they have an idea set in their head, and then, if they go and get more estimates, they already have that number or like just a ballpark of where they should stay within.
Hmm. It sounds like you're working towards like where we'd want you to work towards, from sending estimates like over a day later to then sending them the same day. Now your next graduation, if you're open to it, is going to be
Yeah.
starting to do more estimates on the spot and
Yeah.
presenting the price on the spot, because that's where we see that's what your competition are going to be doing. That's what some of like the biggest companies have tried us and the most successful ones are doing. Is if we go out to like a sales appointment, we want to make sure we're asking for the sale on the spot.
Got it.
If you imagine you go to a car dealership, they typically don't say, yeah, we'll email you the quote and the price. Like typically they're going to say, hey, come sit down. They'll go through their spiel and their presentation. Here's the price. Do you want to move forwards? So like you guys are already crushing it. Like I don't want to change anything you're already
I
doing.
want to do that though.
But if
Yeah.
you start getting because how long do your estimates take now with drug jobs? It must be pretty quick.
It's really quick. I mean, it'll take me like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, brother, we need to start practicing this then, because this
Yeah.
is gonna be money for you as well. Because there's so many people that if you aren't there in person to like see the reaction, to handle objections, to have that like emotional connection with them, they might think this like stupid question like, oh, do they clean up afterwards? But they're
Yeah.
too weird to email or text that. But when you're in person, they can quickly ask that really casually. You're like, yeah, of course we clean up afterwards. Boom, land the sale.
Yeah.
So what I'd love to see you doing now is you're kind of graduating into these next steps is be like, hey, Sammy, I've got all the details I need. I'm gonna go out to my truck real quick, put together your estimate, and then I'll come back and then we'll run through it all together. And maybe you give them like a leaflet or maybe some before and after pictures or something for them to look at and like
Oh yeah.
indoctrinate themselves into you. So while you're out doing the estimate in your truck for 5 minutes, they've got a little pamphlet with maybe some before and afters, some reviews put in there that they can read through. So they're warming themselves up to, oh, Devon's legit. Devon's actually really good.
Yeah.
You go put your estimate together, then come back. You can either, like, if you've got an iPad or you can do it on your phone. A lot of guys will show it on their iPad and actually sit down with them at the kitchen table and then regurgitate everything. Like, Sally, I know you wanted to do this, this, and this, and you had some rotten wood that we're going to replace, and this and this. And I know that, your kids have left and they left smudge marks on the walls. So we want to make sure they're taken care of and make sure we use, waterproof paint, triple paint, da 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 da, relay everything back to them. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And it's only going to be $5,500.
Yeah.
And when you start to actually drop the price with them there and then, you can start to ask them like, hey, can we get you on the schedule for next week? Will you
Yeah.
be out of this world to get on the schedule? You're going to start picking up more sales and you realize. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be super important.
I definitely want to do that. I need to get an iPad. Yeah.
It feels uncomfortable to start doing it, but then you realize like that is bog standard sales process now. Like your
Yeah.
competitors are going to be doing it. A lot of our guys are already doing it. We need to be in that competitive market because I know that you're going to do way better work than Joe Schmo down the street. But if Joe Schmo down the street has a better connection with them and manages to get them to sign on the spot, you've lost that job because we haven't done this sales process as
Yeah.
well. So there's opportunity there, which is huge because you're having record months and we're not even selling on the spot. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I agree with that though. I think
Sales process, we're becoming more professional.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, what has happened with we brought on any more team, or have we still been running with the same team that we had the whole time?
I think I was trying to remember when do you I think I had 7 people working for me. I think it was either 7 or 6. I don't know if you remember.
Sure. I don't remember exactly. So your current guys, you just increased their capacity then.
Yeah.
They were just able to handle more.
Yeah, so now I have 11 people on. So
Oh, so you have brought on more people then?
yeah, yep.
Oh, huge. So what's that? Is that one full crew or how do you split them up?
I split them up to be 2 or 3 man crews. So
Sure.
there's one, basically 3 man crew, but basically I have one person that I can, basically put on any of those crews to help if there's a job that's larger or if there's, a crew that's running behind or something like that.
Okay, sweet. So we've grown in sales, grown in revenue, grown team members as well. What's the next step for you?
The next step, which me and Madeline have been talking to, is to get someone to help with my position.
Okay.
because, I'm at the point to where I'm gonna start needing help if I were to get more leads. So basically getting an estimator or like a job site manager, just someone so that I don't have to be on a field every single day and um, basically make
Mhm.
it so that I can focus more on the business itself, like growing it and, you know, more of like staying on the side of just doing estimates every day and looking at numbers and then, basically making sure that the business is producing more than
It's ideal.
Mhm.
So you're looking for like your right hand man, your project manager to
Yeah.
once they're sold, you've got the person to pass them off to and say, hey, here's Jimmy, he's going to look after you. You know, you've got all the projects handled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's huge. Because yeah, I mean, if you can get all of your time back and then all of your time is open to just running estimates, you
Hmm.
can probably like increase your marketing, just focus on being a salesperson to fuel this project manager and their team. That's like the natural progression we see a lot of guys go through. So that's going to be super exciting. It's
Yeah.
definitely hard. It's definitely hard to find that right guy. But
Hmm.
once you've got that right guy, that's going to unlock so much growth. You're going to be like, man, we're doing projects. I don't even have to go to the job site. I don't have to do
Exactly. Yeah.
anything. It's such a great feeling. That's
That is the
super
hardest
exciting.
thing, though, is like you said, it's just being able to trust someone and then, find the right person for it. That's like the only thing that's hard.
Have you started hiring for that yet, or is that something that you still need to do?
I still need to do it. I've been basically looking around,
Mhm.
so I'm currently looking for the spot, but as of right now, I just haven't been able to find the right fit. But yeah,
Got it. Okay. And is there anybody on your team? Do you use subs or do you use W-2s?
no, I don't use subs. I just have full-time employees. Yeah. And I was gonna hire from within, but the gentleman that I wanted to hire, he used to own his own painting company, and he said he's like, unfortunately, I don't want to. He basically just said, I'm not envious of your position. Like he just said he knows how stressful it can be, and he said he would rather just be able to show up to a job and do work, which
Really? That's interesting.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think a project manager is a better role than a painter personally, but so each
true. I thought he was
each
gonna
to their
say
own.
static.
Yeah, I mean that's ideal is, if you can bring anyone inside that you can trust. But yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, busy season's coming up. I don't know about, for you guys, it's pretty much warm all the time, so it's kind of
Yeah,
always somewhat. But yeah, I would figure out how do we get this hiring moving because hiring always takes longer than you think. If you're like, oh, we're
yeah,
gonna do it in 2 months, it's always gonna take 4 months.
yeah,
Usually waiting for the right person. So yeah, I'm super excited to see you get that position into place. That's like a end of year goal is if you're only selling and you've got the project manager in place,
hmm,
you can really start to get the wheels in motion now.
yeah,
What's the goal for end of year? Do you have like a revenue goal you're trying to hit?
yeah. I was trying to hit 1.5.
Okay. And are
Yeah.
we are we on are we on pace for that?
I think we are, yeah. Like I said, April was weird, just because I guess in general it was really, really slow for kind of everybody. So
Mhm.
that month was kind of what lowered expectations. But, if I maintain what I've been doing in the first 3 months, then yeah, we should be set to at least get pretty close.
I mean, that's huge. Going from doing, you said like 700,000 for the past few years to having even just to say out loud and have a goal of 1.5 million in it,
Yeah,
if possible, is
it's
huge.
crazy.
Um, that's super cool. I mean, is anything changed for you personally as well? Because I know like even when we grew our businesses, you're juggling a lot, you've got a lot going on. Is there anything that's been changing for you personally? Maybe mindset, maybe personal life, maybe are you like hustling hard and burning out from all the work
Yeah.
as well? Like what's going on running a business that's growing like this?
It's it does get stressful, but it's like stress that I kind of wanted because I remember before I started with you, I was talking to my wife and I was like, I kind of want to be to the point to where I'm like I gotta put in extra hours every day just to catch up, and
Mhm.
now I'm there. So it's you got to be ready to be super busy, and every single day you got to work, whether it's like a Saturday, Sunday, you'll still have to put in some emails, some texts, some calls, and stuff like that, but. Um, yeah, so I would say that like overall the workload definitely ramped up a lot and then it just makes you motivated. So I've just been way more motivated because at the beginning when I told you like I was just stagnant, like just, I was just kind of, I wasn't motivated at all because I was like, I'm not moving up, I'm not moving down. Like this is what it is. And
Hmm.
it's now, it motivates me because now that I've seen the progress, I want to reach the next level of progress. And then after that, I want the next level and stuff like that. And so, like you said, after I get a project manager, I'm really excited to take the step to where, I can eventually get it so the business is running itself. And then that way I can grow the business even more.
That's huge. I mean, I think it's just like breaking out of that glass ceiling a little bit and
Yeah.
seeing that there is stuff on the other side. And I think you're even still in that point of you have to keep this momentum because to get past any little like growth ceiling, you have to do what you said. It's work on the weekends. You have to hustle. You have to put in that time to crack through it so you can hire the person to get back your time. And it sounds like that's the season you're in. Is let's grind, let's push, let's keep the momentum. We see the opportunity. We see that what's outside of the door. We just need to keep moving. What would you say to, Devin a year ago or even 2 years ago, if there's someone listening to this that, could take some advice that's in the same position you are, what would you tell them?
Yeah, if I could tell myself I would have done it the first time because we had two meetings right before. Yeah, I would have told myself just not to be so trigger shy and, just to do it immediately because I mean, if I did it sooner, then my sales would even be higher than they are currently. But
Mm.
biggest thing that, I see a lot of people doing is, if you have like a small business or whatever, you're able to finally build up like this little cushion of money and then you don't want to spend it because you're worried that something's going to happen to the business or like that you're going to need it for something like a new work vehicle or like new pumps and machines or something like that. And the thing is that if you take a little chunk of that and invest it into, marketing and being able to build a business, you're going to make all that money to be able to buy the van and the pumps and all that stuff and more. So I would, because I was so nervous about, spending that money to basically, I don't know. I was so scared to do it. And then once I finally did it, I was like, why was I so terrified to, spend this money? And
Yeah, I get it. I think we went through the same thing a long time ago as well. It's like a mindset thing of people look at money as something that you should like hold on to and be scarce around when really the more you can shift your mindset to money is just a token to trade for something else. And if you can trade it for something that brings you more, don't look at it as being scarce and trying to keep it. Look at it as like you hire your team, you swap this token for your team to do the project. Now you get your time back that you can focus on producing elsewhere. And I think really a lot of the times people, and I could be wrong in this, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but people will get into business, they'll start to get a bit of momentum, like you said, get to that 5 to 700K range where you're making good money, you're paying yourself, like life is good. Like you said, you're starting to build a bit of a cushion, but you don't recognize that even if you've got let's say 10, 20 grand saved in the bank, maybe more, maybe less, you're still in a crazy risky position because one
yeah.
bad negative thing could happen. It doesn't even matter if you've got 40 grand in the account. Like that's not enough of a cushion to really warrant saving a big storm. Like if fucking COVID comes back again or something crazy happens in the family, whatever it is, people think it's a good amount of money, but it's truly not when you're talking about a massive risk. And I
Exactly.
think until you get to that point where you're making, a million plus a year and you've really got this momentum of cash flow coming in, you should be spending everything you can, allocating everything you can to get to that point. Because whether you're doing 200K a year or 500K a year, you're still in the same kind of risk position. You just
Mhm.
don't have enough coming in to warrant it, which I think is what a lot of people get stuck on. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that.
I agree completely on that because I personally know of like four small companies that were in my city that shut down because
Hmm.
I mean, it when COVID hit, it either helped companies or it didn't. And it was really weird. It was all over the place. But I knew of four companies that fell under because they didn't want to invest in doing marketing because they were just word of mouth and they just didn't believe in it at all. So, I mean, there was a couple of them that actually ended up just selling to one of the companies in Phoenix that I mentioned earlier. But
Cool.
a couple of them, they didn't want to put any any sort of money into any investments, whether it was like the radio or online presence like you guys do on like Facebook, or and then they ended up just falling under, and now they don't have a company anymore and they're like working a 9 to 5 again. So it's just, I think a lot of people there's some sort of like negative stigma that people put out there about advertising online for some reason. I don't know why, but
I don't know. Maybe
maybe they
that's
didn't for
like
everything,
companies that are
but
winning.
yeah.
I think everything works. I'm a big believer that all forms of marketing work. There's just some things that are more effective than others. Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you could land clients from the golf pamphlet advertising stuff.
Yeah.
You probably can, but the volume isn't going to be enough to keep 11 guys busy.
Yeah, no.
So it's like it's good to do a bit of everything, but yeah, I think this has been super valuable. I definitely think you've given a lot of clarity to guys that are in your similar position as to like how you need to be thinking, what you need to be doing, and also knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel if you work your way down the tunnel. Like don't stand where you are in the tunnel and just think this is it. Keep moving, keep getting momentum. Force yourself a bit. You have to get over that. What do people say? You have to climb over that like top of the cliff to actually see the other side and see that there's more opportunity. You just feel like you're never ending climbing. We need to get to the top at some point. Yeah, but I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to add or feel like is relevant in the conversation to kind of share?
Um, I would just tell people, that a lot of people, in the first place don't like taking selfie videos because
Mhm.
that I don't know why, but a lot of people hate that, and that's honestly like a deal breaker for people. But I would tell people, you know, don't don't be nervous to film yourself, and it's a quick 30-second video. It takes 30 seconds and it's worth the investment. And it works because it makes you more relatable to customers. So when you show up to their house, they already feel like they, kind of know you. So I would tell people just to, trust the process and, just do it. Because once, I mean, you at the end of the day, you guys probably literally saved my company. Um, so yeah, I just appreciate it. And, it's Madeline's been amazing. It helped me throughout everything. So yeah, I would just tell people, if you watch the testimonials, like these are real. And yeah.
Mhm. I really appreciate the kind words, man. And it's crazy to hear that. I don't think I'm going to forget that. It's crazy to hear that we almost let you go and stopped after a month. And now we're here saying, hey, you saved our company. You just got to push. You just got to fucking do it. I think
Yep.
you were the person that you almost decided not to be an action taker, but you were like, fuck this. I'm going to be an action taker. I'm going to do the stuff I need to do. And I can tell that from what you've implemented. You've implemented drip jobs. You've taken action on improving the business.
Yep.
We see this like opportunity, which is like, that's what's so exciting at Tridas as well, is when you see the stuff you can do,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
makes you get up every day and you're like, yeah, let's build, let's do
Yeah.
this, we can get to this. So I can see that like change with you as well since we last spoke. It's like there's somewhere to go now. There's a vision, there's something to push for, which is super exciting. Let's see how quickly we can get this project manager on. Obviously, don't rush hiring. It's the worst thing you can do. Like take it slow, but
Yeah.
if we find someone really solid for the rest of the year, we can push hard. That'll be super
I was also
exciting.
gonna, a quick question for you.
Cool.
When people typically hire on someone like that, um, is there like, because I know that you guys help with that too. Is there like, how do you go through the process of like putting an ad out there, or I don't know, like, do people typically hire from within or?
I mean, usually that's ideal just because you kind of know the person.
Yeah.
Right, like it's always nice to hire with him, but obviously not everyone has the luxury of knowing there is someone there. Like if your team just aren't the guys for that position, that's okay. You don't have to like shoot yourself in the foot and be like, oh well, I need to bring on one anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But usually Indeed is a good place. So going and running Indeed ads, like go spend $30 a day on an Indeed ad. You can have kind of ChatGPT help you write it up. You can run Facebook ads for hiring,
Okay.
but remember, Facebook ads will just hit everyone in the community, whereas the people
Oh,
that see your ad on Indeed, they are people that are on Indeed because they're looking for a job,
yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
the people that see an Indeed job for a project manager probably are looking for that role. Um, but you also don't, a lot of the companies we've seen that are really successful, they don't just hire for experience. They also hire for, again, like personality and soft skills as well. And
Yeah. Yep.
a lot of guys like to hire people that are, they're athletes in college. for example, and they've got that competitive nature to them. They've got a bit of grit and a bit of hustle to them as well. So when you're going out and hiring someone, don't just look for the tick boxes of like they understand painting, they've done painting before. Like it's also the soft skills and like, are they a good person? Do they have the right culture for what you're trying to build? Do you feel like you'll get on with them? Because like you can teach anyone to understand painting. Like it might take an extra month,
Yeah.
but yes, hiring for personality is a big one. Um, Indeed is pretty big, and then this is where like the ads come into play. Is like the more people that know you in the community, the more opportunity you have for people to want to work with you in the first place. If nobody knows who Devon is, then why would anyone want to work for a leader they don't know about?
Yeah.
Right. But if these guys are seeing you show up on the field all the time, they're like, oh, he seems to run a really good company. It's like making an impact in the community. So like even that helps with your positioning for hiring as well, because more people will know who you are.
That makes sense. Yeah. I didn't even think about that too. Like just people with that are already in the competitive environment. That's a good idea
Yeah.
because I didn't think about that.
I would run Indeed ads. That's
Okay.
going to be your lowest hanging
Oh, I
fruit.
also
See how that goes.
through my payroll company, I get ZipRecruiter like for free.
Same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
ZipRecruiter is the same as Indeed, just
Yeah.
different platform. I would abuse that. Like when we're looking to hire, we would just start the same as we would spend in Facebook ad spend, we would spend on like hiring ads. And just
Really?
like you can spend 3 grand in a month, or you can spend 3 grand in a week. You're gonna get the same results. It's just one's gonna take a week, one's gonna take a month.
Yeah.
So it's also like how quickly do we want to move as well? If we're like, I need a project manager right now, let's dump a bunch of money into ads. Let's get loads of applicants coming through. You can start it, run it for a week, get 300 applicants come through, pause it, run through those applicants. It just depends how quickly you want to move.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll probably start on that this week, then do ZipRecruiter and see.
Let's
God,
do it. You said it. I'm gonna hold you to it. We need to start on it this week. Yeah, because if we don't start on it, then we're not gonna have any people to review and no applicants.
exactly. Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Like you said, I could do like Chat GPT for like a really good punch list or whatever.
Exactly. Just do write a paragraph to ChatGPT of like, what is the role? What sort of person are you looking for? Like, what sort of culture are you looking for in the team? Like,
Yeah.
what sort of traits should they have? Great, a zip recruiter job list. Da. It'll spit it out. You edit it. Like AI is super easy now. It's gonna
Exactly.
help you
Yeah.
do pretty much anything.
Helps with everything.
Yeah, man.